I made this video so that majority of the people out here in US or in any other country can decide to either rent or to own a property. It is a situation which comes into every person's life at some point, and I wish to help you all in deciding based on numbers and not just a hunch. In this argument of whether you should buy or rent, the main components consist of considering the whole scenario as an investment and comparing which of the two situations generate more net present value to you. Second, we will have to make certain assumptions which will drive our decision to choose the better investment. I will cover this in detail as we go ahead. Third, looking at the two scenarios not just in terms of money, but the quality it will bring to you, like how safe and secure is the location, is it easier for you to commute to work from the location, etc. When it comes to people who prefer buying over renting, you could hear them say that renting a property is just a waste of money and that you're basically paying landlord's mortgage when you can pay your own. Instead, you should get a loan and pay the installments for the property. This way, you would get to live in it and have an investment with an appraisal in the end. While people who prefer renting over buying make an argument that renting is way cheaper than investing in a property and that they can make a higher return on the money by investing it in stocks or bonds or a different industry. Honestly, it's possible for a renter to end up with a larger net worth than someone who buys a home. But financially, ownership has worked out better for most people over long run. And I will show you how as we move forward. Let's try and understand all of these arguments in terms of money with the help of a model in Excel. Also, at the end, I want to answer the question of buying versus renting for different scenarios. As we all know, there is no straight yes or no to the question. So please watch till the end. This Excel model will help to calculate the payments of a house mortgage loan and compare it to the opportunity cost of renting the same house. Inputs from me are highlighted with the yellow fill and the calculations are in white fill, and finally the restricted cells are in light gray fill. In the mortgage to state tab, I will input the house price. I have looked up online and an average property in LA downtown area would cost around $500K. Then is the percentage of the down payment. Let's say we make 20% of the down payment. Then is the effective interest rate, and it is calculated in such a way that it takes into account the tax benefit a person will get. It is basically a benefit you get by paying the interest on a mortgage loan. The level of tax exemption depends on the level of income generated by the individual or the region where the property is located. If there are no tax benefit in your region, or if your income does not fall in that tax benefit bracket, you can enter 0 in D18. Let's say the annual maintenance cost be 2% of the house price. This will cover the types of insurances, like in LA we need renter's insurance and preferably insurance to cover any damages which may be caused due to earthquakes, as LA is an earthquake prone area. Then the cost for general repair and maintenance of the house. Average appreciation of a property in LA is around 5 to 10%. Let's take 5% to be conservative. Also, the number in cell P10 is calculated in such a way that it takes into account the closing fee, legal fee, and the cost incurred after selling the house at the end. Then, in the end, is the discount rate. It is basically how much your money could earn you back on your investment if you had not invested in this property. Basically, it is the earning power of your money. Let's say you would have invested this money in Vanguard S&P 500 index fund, which is known to give an 8% return annually. After entering these arguments, the interest, principal payments, maintenance costs are calculated for every month of the loan duration. All these values are then used to forecast the cash flows. In order to calculate the net present value of the mortgage, it is assumed that house is sold at the end of the loan period. Then the cost of mortgage is calculated in dollar terms without considering the time value of the money as well as the net present value, which considers the time value of money. In the second tab named rent, inputs like house price, down payments, and years to repay the loan are drawn from the first tabs and are kept in gray cells. In this tab, we need to input yearly return on the investment from the down payment. Let's say we invest it in S&P 500 index fund, which gives 8% return annually. The second argument we require is initial monthly rent of an apartment or a property. To rent a property worth $500K, monthly rent in LA downtown area would be around $2,500. Third argument we need is annual increment in rent. In Los Angeles, increment can be between 3 to 8%. Let's take 5%. Also, be aware that we will be investing the difference between the monthly installments of a mortgage payment and monthly rent, along with the down payment money, as it should be considered as saving. Finally, in the summary tab, all the cases are presented: rent and mortgage to stay, both in dollar terms and in time value of money terms. Additionally, for every effective interest rate from 1% to 10%, the benefit to rent is calculated in cash terms and in net present value terms. As we can see from our initial example, when we are analyzing the situation over the period of 20 years, cost to own the property is significantly lesser than to rent. Also, in terms of net present value, owning a property adds much more value to us. Let's talk about the different scenarios in which our decision might change. First, let's analyze the situation for the period of 5 years. We can see that cost to rent adds more net present value and more cash. Therefore, it's usually preferred to rent the property in short term. But sometimes we have seen that in fast growing areas or areas near beach or places where there is not much land for construction, appreciation rates are higher than usual. If we take the appreciation of a property from 3% to 9%, we see that even in short term, owning becomes a better option. The other possible scenario is comparison with the high rental property. So if we change the monthly rent from $2,500 to $10,000, we can see that owning again becomes a better option. Let's go back to our initial example and see what would happen if we were able to generate more return with the saving in the rental property case. Let's say we were able to generate 12% return on the investment. We can see that renting becomes a profitable option. In the end, it all depends on the type of deal and the type of situation you are in. It depends if you can create more revenue with the down payment money you would be saving. You will have to input the factors accordingly and analyze the deal. So when we talk about the long-term period, like 20-25 years, people who usually own the property are more likely to end up with a high net value. As one of the big assumptions we are making in this model is that in the renting case, we would be able to generate good income over the long period of time by investing the money, which we saved in terms of down payment. I therefore recommend owning a place for long term and renting a place for short term. In real life, there are several factors to consider. Like you should consider renting a house if you have an unstable source of revenue. Other reason why celebrities in LA prefer renting a house is because it provides mobility and convenience. Whenever you decide to move someplace else, you don't have to worry about selling your property and recovering the amount of money you invested initially. In this sense, renting is a less risky deal. So think about this as well before deciding. Similarly, you should consider buying a place if you want to be able to customize it your way. Also, compared to renting, you are more likely to make the monthly mortgage payments and thus making a long-term investment. And after you stop making monthly mortgage payments, you will have a property which appreciated over a long time and can create a good amount of money after selling. So next time when you are making a decision, think about all the factors and not just the dollar amount associated with it.